definition of ready. So when do you know that you have enough details in your story to start your dev work? Do you really need all the little details before you start the build? The definition of ready helps to answer those two questions. So having an idea of a definition of ready can help everyone in the team better understand what is required for the dev team to feel confident that they can successfully deliver the user story. So for me, a definition of ready would look like something like this. A conversation has happened about the story and the acceptance criteria. So look, even if it's a 2-minute chat, take the time to discuss the story with your product owner. I usually have regular meetings with my product owner or my business analyst to review multiple stories at the same time. So again, even if that story is super simple, take 2 minutes to have a quick chat about that story with your product owner / business analyst and explain how you understood the story to make sure that everyone is on the same page. The second criteria of my definition of ready for a story is that acceptance criteria are defined and understood by everyone in the team, including the business analyst, product owner, subject matter expert, and dev team. Right? So you might ask, why would the acceptance criteria not be clear, for example, to the business analyst or the product owner in the first instance, right? Because, in theory, they are writing them. Well, in practice, I've been on projects where you have multiple subject matter experts collaborating with the product owner, where we have maybe multiple business analysts all working together and collaborating because of the size of the project. It might be a big project where you need multiple SMEs, multiple business analysts collaborating together. And it might happen that one of the subject matter experts just update the acceptance criteria or adds in the conversation in the comment section some additional proposed acceptance criteria to the story, and simply the business analyst or the product owner don't really understand what that means. So make sure that you review every single line of acceptance criteria, especially when they are a little bit more complex, and make sure that everyone from the client team also have the same understanding of those acceptance criteria. So what I also do for the acceptance criteria and the user story, so I try as much as possible to demo the acceptance criteria using Dynamics 365. So if it's a field that has specific rules, like, the case number needs to follow a certain formatting for the number format, I would demonstrate in Dynamics 365 the field, how it looks in the form, and what kind of logic that field will have once we deliver the product. If the acceptance criteria cannot be met with out-of-the-box features, I would spend the time to prototype quickly, right? You don't want to spend hours on prototyping, but quickly prototype something that you can, mimic and showcase to your product owner just to make sure that they have the same understanding. So again, whether that's a specific business process flow or a form, I would go and prototype that slightly to showcase that to them. Sometimes I would even use a whiteboard, right? And in the virtual world of today, I would use a virtual whiteboard to quickly draw, draft kind of a mimic of a screen, of a mimic of a business process flow, just again, to have that shared understanding and make sure that we are on the same page. The story can be estimated and tested. So I would usually ask my team to estimate the story using story points. And also it's kind of a test for myself and my team to make sure that we understand the complexity behind that user story, making sure that everyone has a bit of the same estimates really helps one make sure again that we understand, or we have the same understanding of the complexity, more or less. But second, it also forces my dev team to really read through the acceptance criteria to make sure that they can then provide estimates later. So it's kind of serve both purposes. And then the second is the story can be, we need to be able to test the story based on the acceptance criteria, right? So I would again ask a tester in my team to review the acceptance criteria and let me know how he or she feels about the acceptance criteria, and if they feel, and if that person feels confident writing the test scenario based on the existing acceptance criteria. And then finally, the product owner has approved the story and the acceptance criteria. So in this case, we want to make sure that the product owner really tick the box, the approval box for the user stories to go from in analysis, for example, to dev, to be picked up by the dev team to be worked on. This also drives ownership and ensure, that the product owner will check the story and the acceptance criteria with her or his subject matter expert / business analyst to make sure that also within his team, within the client team, they are on the same page. And some last words about the definition of ready. So the team can really use that definition of ready when preparing as well stories for upcoming sprints. They can see more or less the activities that need to happen to make sure that that story is ready for the dev team to pick it up. And then the definition of ready also helps you focus on the key activities to make sure again that your story is ready on time for your dev team to pick up the story so that they can start the work on it.